Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new period romance Redeeming Love. And this is from director DJ Caruso, from the director of Triple X Return of Xander Cage, The Disappointments Room, which, not a great one. I Am Number 4, Eagle Eye Disturbia, and now is taking on this romance. And this focuses on a prostitute out in the West during the gold rush in California, who just becomes the figment of this young farmer's just love and adulation and transfixion. And this is the whole epic 2-hour and 15-minute story of their romance and them finally coming together. And it is super melodramatic and super manipulative. It plays on your heartstrings and it knows exactly what it's doing. It tries to find every overly dramatic opportunity to hammer home basically every single man for the most part in this movie is some horrible just amalgamation of abuse or just vices, and they just make for easy, there you go, horrible things to women. And, it's easy to hate them. And that's exactly what the movie wants you to do. And then even the main character who's in love with Angel, this young prostitute, is so underwritten. And he has no substance. This movie is the thing where it's he goes to a church all by himself and prays to God to deliver him a woman. And then the first woman he sees is a prostitute walking down the street, and he's just like, that's her. Thank you, God. And it's just okay. And, there's some faith-based elements to this film, and they're not even delved into too deeply. There's really convenient moments. There's a moment later in the film where, there's this one black guy who steps up and saves Angel, and he's just go on. And he just disappears. There's just horrible tropes, just shoving them into this movie. And it's overlong. This is a 2-hour and 15-minute movie, and it just gets so repetitive. There's just so many moments that, there's a whole thing where it's she keeps trying to run away after she finally goes to this farm and marries this young man. And one time she runs away, starts up a whole entire brothel and new setup for where she's going to do her prostituting. It feels like that next day, this farmer's there and is do you want to stay here? No. And then they run away again. And it's just this is all within the course of 3 minutes on screen. And it's just did you really need to go through all of that just to be exactly where you started 3 minutes ago in this movie? And it's just those kinds of things where it's just we didn't really need that. And there's some tonal issues because it's trying to be this wonderful, bright, loving romance. And then there's things like horrible abuse, incest, pedophilia, murder, and all kinds of other things. Rape and people taking advantage of these women and blackmailing them into sex and all of these different kinds of things. Arson, probably other things I could probably think of. And you just have all of this thrown in here. It's just this movie doesn't know where it's really trying to be. And it's pretty interesting and shocking and compelling at points where it's just it's really going to go here? But then it resolves it so easily and so conveniently. And it's overly traditional in its framework of love, where it's just the whole entire thing of being able to bear children becomes a very important piece of this film. And the film really feels over reliant on the fact that it's there's so much of I can't be good for him, I can't give him kids. And it's just at no point in this whole entire film does anything deter this young man from wanting to love this woman. And then they still make little things where it's just never say never. And it's just she can't have kids. That's it. And it's just like, never say never. And then where the film actually goes with it, I wanted to face palm at the end of the movie. But I'll digress with that and not get into too much. But you have a really good center. Abigail Cowen, who plays Angel, gives a really strong performance. And she's a complex character. And kind of interesting. And it's like, there's potential right in the center here. And there's some other complex characters. And I'll get to one of them in a second. But, like, she's interesting. And Cohen gives a strong performance. And you're just kind of like, there could have been much more here. But they decide to go all the cheap, very basic kind of routes with it. And then you have Tom Lewis, who plays our main character, Michael, who's very iffy and stiff in his acting and his, like, Cajun accent. And there's, like, nothing to this character. It's just like, no matter what this woman does, he's just like, but I love her. And it's okay. And it's just like, there's no conflict at all. She has to be so insecure to the point where she has to create her own conflict because this character is so just bland. And then you have people like Famke Janssen, who plays like the leader of this brothel, the Duchess, and she's fun for the moment she's on screen. Logan Marshall Green, who plays Paul, is one of the few male characters in this movie that are actually like a gray area. And he gives some strong performing moments, but like so stuck in this whole just completely black and white good versus evil kind of story that's so uninteresting. It takes so long for him to become that piece, and at that point it doesn't amount to much. You have like Eric Dane, who plays the Duke, who is just the most scummy, disgusting character in this movie. And he just, like, the second he's on the screen, like, the music's super manipulative, like, he's evil. Might as well have, like, chorus people chanting, he is evil, to go along with the music, because it's so obvious that he's supposed to be evil. And, like, the music, there's a lot of modern music choices in this movie that just feel so weird and out of place. And it's just like, why is this, like, Adele-sounding music in this period drama? But why? And in the end, here's the thing. I'm sitting here, not the hugest fan of romances, and I think most of them are pretty manipulative and awkward and just so melodramatic. And this is all of those things and more. If you're a big fan of romance, I think you'll enjoy this movie. And I think you'll get plenty out of it. 2 hours and 15 minutes even might strain on you. But I think if you're into that and that's your thing, this delivers on that. Besides that, this is going to turn a lot of people off, especially if you're not a fan of, like, I would equate this, like, if you're a fan of, like, The Notebook, you'll probably like this movie. If not, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? But in the end, I felt like there was some potential here, but, you know, it just chose to lean into every single cliche possible that they could find in a period romance and went with it. And I got left sitting there being like 2 hours and 15 minutes later, like, don't know if this was worth it. But those are my thoughts on Redeeming Love. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.